On our morning show update today from WRCO, pleased to have in the studio Karin Tepley, recently elected as mayor here in the city of Richland Center. So, good morning, Karin.
Good morning, Phil. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Glad that you've made the commitment to be on the radio here each month. So.
Yes, looking forward to it for sure.
Do you feel like you're settled in?
I'm getting settled in. To the point of actually moving my office. As you walk into the building, the reception desk is right there, and my office is right behind there. So I'm very open to the public, very visual. And so I'm excited to have that office space, and also setting some hours for constituents. So I have that set. So that will be on Mondays from 11:30 to 1, and then on Thursday afternoons from 4:30 to 6. So trying to catch people who are have time in the middle of the morning and then after work type. And then I will have also regular office hours all day Monday, all day Tuesday, and for a half a day on Friday afternoons.
Do people have to make an appointment for those hours there?
For the regular hours, yes, but during the constituent hours, no. It's just simply walk in.
And then you have the new office there and some other things moving forward here since you took over a week or so ago?
Well, we do have two council members that have been at their first meeting at our organizational meeting. So that happened on which was the state mandated third Tuesday of the month. So we had that the other day, on that Tuesday. And our new council members, Frank Hoffman and Chris Jarvis. And we will be able to announce one more council member, obviously taking my place on council. So looking forward to that. And we also have some new committee configurations. So we brought in a committee called General Governance, and the chairs from 3 committees will sit on that committee. So many times there's issues that come up and we're not exactly sure, not which committee it should go to, but the level of importance also. So that general committee will have the chair of budget, the chair of personnel, and the chair of public works as their committee. So we're pretty excited to have that committee going. And then once again, I think I mentioned several times during my campaign and on the radio that it's really important to choose your committees because that's where the work happens. So I had that privilege to put those committees together, and what I did was I made sure that we had at least one member from last year, and then just didn't mix things up just to mix things up, but I think just knowing council members and where they would fit in, so I made a few changes with the committee members. So excited to get that started.
How often does that committee meet then? Do they meet before the regular city council meeting or after? Or what's the time frame there?
Yeah, the general governance. Yes, they will meet monthly, and I believe it will be right after council.
And the projects that they're looking at, what are some goals?
Yeah, I mean, nothing is right on their agenda just yet, but there's always, like say, those topics that will come up. That they're, for instance, when we changed the time for our council meetings, that should have been in a committee before it came to council for discussion and how is that going to work. And there really wasn't a committee for that. So little things like that could go there, but also, like say, larger issues. They could be legal issues. They could be structure, issues, maybe within government. So it's a good place to have that land.
You have been a council member as well. I think sometimes it's overlooked what the city council does.
Right.
Isn't it?
Right. Like say, each district, there are 4, and each district has 3 wards, basically. And so you have, each constituent has 2 council members. So council is, and they are, as a unit, the decision makers. That's really important. I know sometimes people think, well, I'll just call the mayor. And, the mayor, of course, is the CEO of the city. But the decision makers really need to hear from the constituents. So I'm going to do my best to, when I receive a phone call from a constituent, I'm going to ask them, well, who is your representative? And if they haven't reached out to them, I will ask them to, or I will at least make them aware of what the constituent, what the issue is. Because they need to know. I mean, it's a small town, so you will, of course, see people at the grocery store and whatnot. And if they should ask you, did you hear about this or that, or do you have an update? And they won't even know about it. So I want to be sure they know, because, like I said, that's the important part. A lot of times people say, oh, come to the council meeting. Well, the council meeting is the point where people say yes and no, yay and nay. But the real work and the decisions and all of the research is done in the committee level. So if you really have an issue with anything in our city, and that would be related to public works, or and public works is a big committee, or for finance or anything like that, make a note to stop in at the meeting and make your voice heard.
Sometimes people show up when there is a concern.
Right.
You don't see anybody at the meetings lots of times when there's not, right?
Right.
Yeah, and wanted to get to work on some other things, such as some summertime hours. That won't be long. You'll be opening up the pool before too long, and the splash pad.
Yes, the splash pad actually opens before the pool, so that will be open, and it's typical on Memorial Day weekend. And we hope to have that, the shelter, I believe it's like a flag, or not a flag exactly, but it's a screen for the sun,
for shade,
shade screen. There we go. And so that will be happening before we know it. Also, the library has great summer programming. They, of course, have their summer reading program. It's great for the young kids to stay kind of connected into school, but also have it be fun. They have some great programming there. And then, of course, Park and Rec, also, they have a kind of a unique event that's going to happen. It's not until June 27th, but they received a $3,000 grant from the Richland County Campus Foundation, and it's called the Thunder Slam Pickleball Tournament. So they're going to be looking forward to that.
Really? I had not heard about that. That sounds like a little bit of fun. Are you going to play in it too?
Probably not.
Me either. But it's nice to be talking about some of those events, for especially for the youngsters. But for us oldsters, one of the hot topics right now is road construction going on around the city.
Yes, for sure. So as far as I know, the Highway 14 project is moving along. Weather has cooperated, so we're happy about that. So I guess I would just ask folks to, bring a little more patience along with them, leave a little earlier, because as you know, even, for turning into businesses along the way, like WRCO, the sticks are placed a little further apart for businesses. There are some turning lanes, but traffic and whatnot, cars behind you have to stop. So just leave a little earlier, and then maybe just pay a little more attention to the businesses along Highway 14. I know anytime construction, or there's some way that you may not be able to get into the driveway, or it's a little more inconvenient, but pay a little more attention to those businesses, because I'm sure they would appreciate it.
What about construction in the city? Any streets being worked on for the summer?
Well, we have the streets department has been busy doing some of the pothole filling. I know Church Street has had some work done. There's always work to be done there. There are a few projects coming up, and I would like to have Jason Glassbrenner, our Director of Public Works, come in and speak about that in more detail. But we do have it's summertime. So, of course, there's going to be some street projects happening in the future.
And mowing? They're working on that?
Mowing, yes. Once again, weather has cooperated. We haven't had, there's been several mowings, of course, by now, but a little bit cooler, not quite as wet, so that helps. So the Public Works Department has been down like 2.5 employees for about the last month. So we did just hire one person, and there's some interviews going on as we speak, I guess. So hopefully they'll be full staffed. That will make all those summertime projects work a little bit more efficiently.
Is there an update on the hotel project, the cobblestone project?
Yes, the hotel project. Still working on the investment group. One of the reasons that I have been a proponent of this franchise company, which is Cobblestone, is because their business model is to choose local. I mean, you could bring some investment group out of California or Chicago and build this, and it would have already been done. But their business model, which has worked for 165 hotels nationwide, 30 in the state of Wisconsin, says local is better. So building that investment group, isn't something that a small town has done every day. So there's some ebbs and flows. I will tell you that, some other communities that have the Cobblestone Hotel built, there's one in the kind of middle of the state. They actually had to have like 3 different feasibility studies done. It took probably about a 5-year process. So we are relatively new in our journey. So not discouraged by any stretch. We've had people very interested. The city has made their interest known by doing an incentive program. So it all looks great. Like I say, it's just getting the local people all in one group. So it takes a little bit.
It's something that's not going to happen overnight, then?
No. In fact, there was one committee, Cobblestone on their Facebook page, they put out either groundbreaking or ribbon cutting ceremonies, and they're usually about 20 minutes long. And there was one that I noticed, it was actually 13 years in the making. So I was like, oh goodness, that won't be us, but it's because of their business model, it's really sought after that this is the model for small towns, because you have the ability to have a mid to high end hotel in your small town, which doesn't typically happen. I mean, the higher end, they want anywhere from 150 to 250 rooms. When they did our feasibility study, we were at like 48 to 54 rooms. So we wouldn't have that ability. And the owner of the franchise is located in Neenah, Wisconsin, for one thing, which is unusual. But he's from the hotel industry, and that's what he saw around the country. Like, why can't small towns have this caliber of hotel? So that's the business model that they put together. And like I say, it takes a little bit more doing to do it local, but it's worth the effort.
And it'll be good for upcoming weddings, and those kind of things. But I think also for your downtown, people stay and maybe browse and shop and, stay the night and things like that.
Yes, exactly. So part of the that whole corridor would be also possibility of having Jefferson Street for one block closed off to vehicle traffic. So it would be kind of like an urban park where things like the farmers market or food truck events and that type of thing can happen. A place to just sit and watch the world go by, So that was part of the EPA study that was done for market, the ideas of what types of things could work well in your downtown. But exactly, there really isn't any, well, I won't say any, but the likelihood of another entity that would come to the downtown that would bring new people in all the time with usually some time on their hands. So a hotel brings, say, the economic impact that is part of the feasibility study that was done is, I would say like totally off the charts, but it makes a huge impact.
So the land and the space is kind of set aside for it?
Yes.
What if another entity came in the meantime and made an offer? I mean, is that...
Yeah. Well, we do have a pre-development agreement with Cobblestone, so it is set for them throughout that time period.
What's the latest on Story Field construction there?
Story Field, yes. We just had a construction meeting that I was invited to be a part of. So we had people from the city utilities, and we had the Veerbecker was, of course, leading it, and then the construction companies that will be part of building. So they were just working out all the the dates and when this will happen, when that'll happen. So it was great to get the first meeting off the ground, and so we're looking forward to construction happening soon.
Do they give a timeline of things and when they're going to get moving?
Yes. They did have some dates in mind, and my recollection was about 3 weeks before things start actually happening. They have to get some other items in place before they can actually start.
And Panorama Estates.
Panorama, yes. Panorama, building number 2 is still in the works. Probably should be getting an update this week on pulling building permits and the like, but yes, still moving forward with that.
Anything new in terms of the city's relationship with the campus, reconfiguration, and all of that?
Yes, those are good questions. We do have several meetings coming up. One is, as I think you probably recall, there's been collaboration meetings, and that's meetings with the county, the city. Simons is typically involved as the school district. So that meeting will be happening, I believe it's May 7th. Yes, on May 7th. And then the Simons Rec meeting will be happening May 12th. That's where, once again, the county and the city, conversations about what is it going to look like going forward. And then we will also have on our city agenda for tomorrow also a discussion so that we have what the council members feel that that we can take to that meeting. And then the ambulance committee. They are going to be meeting on May 5th, which is unfortunately the same day that council meets, so I won't be able to attend that. But, those decisions have to be made soon.
You take over as mayor with, it's not kind of a humdrum situation. There's a lot of things going on, right?
There is. And it's good. It's a good feel to, to have things moving forward. We hope, like say, the ambulance, Simons, people come here for a good quality of life. The small town feel, we hear it on national news, how great it is for the small town feel. And so we need to keep the things in place that bring that, the things to do. I think I've mentioned, certainly while campaigning, my background is in real estate, and I sold real estate in Racine for about 10 years. And many times when we would be doing showings or open houses, questions that came about, number one was usually, what are the schools like around here? And the second one is, what is there to do? I mean, we kind of take that as, just what is there to do on Saturday afternoon? But, for young families, that's important. It's important to know that their kids are going to have a good quality of life.
When you were elected mayor, then what were some of the first things that people came to you with? Did you get some immediate feedback?
Well, I had a few visitors, which was great. And a little bit of congratulations, and that was wonderful. Received some cards. Also received a few issues that happened. There was unfortunate gentleman's wife actually had fallen on one of our downtown streets, so that was taken care of. That happened to be near the county building, so it's county property, but they took care of that right away. So actually, it's been a really nice, like walking in. I've had conversations with Todd, former Mayor Todd Coppernall, before I took in the office. So I had a good idea of what he knew. So it was really, it's been really a good feeling so far.
You haven't had second thoughts about taking the job yet?
No, nothing. No second thoughts.
Well, I know you had, kind of your agenda, some things to cross off, as if you were elected mayor and things like that. So I know you're started. What's next then, Karin?
Well, what's next? That's always a good list to keep, right? What's next? So I think what I would like to do with the time that I have on the morning show, which is great, and we appreciate the time, is in meetings going forward that we have here. I would like to bring someone else along with me, because I think it's really important. Just like when you asked about the street projects, I'm aware of them, but I don't have all the details, nor should I. That's the people that are working 40 hours a week, they know what's going on. So I would like to make sure that the public hears from the professionals who know what is going on. Somebody else's voice with the knowledge behind it. So, those are some of the things that I would like to make sure happen. So, whether it be Jason Glassbrenner from Department of Public Works, Jody Meaden from Park and Rec, and many others as well. So I'd like to do that for sure. And then, like I say, just kind of going forward with the next council meeting, give people, once again, a little update of, what they can expect. And because we meet here on the Monday before, it's going to be happening tomorrow. So we will be having a discussion, simply a discussion about the shared ride taxi by Running Incorporated. So we've had the shared ride taxi for quite a few years. And we now also have a local company who has also been providing taxi service. So we have to make sure that the information and how all of the formulas and everything from the state for that shared ride taxi is working for the city. So we will have that. And then once again, there are, there's ordinance and stuff like that, but none of that's real exciting. But I would just like to invite people to take a look at the website and take a look at when committees meet. There's a tab for committees, commissions, and boards, and just kind of take a look on what their agendas have to say, and I would just invite people to get involved. That's the way things happen in a small community. You have to have involvement. You have to have volunteers to make some of these things happen.
What about the downtown? Anything happening there? Any ribbon cuttings or anything like that in the near future?
Yeah. Well, thank you for bringing downtown up. The downtown's always been kind of near and dear to my heart. And we have, I believe I mentioned during my campaign too, Connect Communities is I would just call it a stepping stone to a Main Street program. And these are both headed by the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. So Richland Center, it's a competitive application. So we won the competition, I'll just say it that way, to have a Connect Communities in our downtown. We are going to be setting a meeting, I'm going to say probably in the next 10 days, for the downtown businesses to get together. This Connect Communities can do many things for our downtown. Once again, it can be event-driven, but it's mostly economic development driven. So we really want to put the best face forward on our downtown. We talked about the hotel earlier. If we're going to have visitors coming to our community and very close to our downtown, we want to shine the best way that we can. So we hope that the business owners and building owners would come together and find Connect Communities the good place to gather, to create ideas, to come together. And it's also a good voice to government.
I know you want to be approachable, and if anybody's listening, they have some ideas or thoughts, reach out, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, constituent hours, you can just walk in. Those are on Mondays from 11:30 till 1, and then on Thursdays from 4:30 till 6. So please do stop by. I'm definitely like to, hear ideas. And what I always like to say, if you have some ideas, come with a few solutions or ways that we could go about, putting that idea on paper and then get it moving forward.
Good point. Absolutely. We appreciate you putting us on your schedule as well, Karin.
Oh, so. I love the opportunity. It's great that we're offered this.
So we'll see you in the month of June then, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. I'd also like to, just point out that, make sure you attend all of the great celebrations and things happening in May, whether it be the functions that happen within Grace. We have one of the big events happening at the fairgrounds. And that is the
Dirt Drags.
The Dirt Drags, yes.
This weekend.
It is.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited. I'm a race fan. So whether it be cars, motorcycles, horses, I'm in there. And they're bringing a really cool like another event with the motorcycles, the stunt motorcycle guys. So that'll be really cool. And then, of course, the Memorial Day celebration. So just, like I say, hopefully the weather will cooperate, but, get out and enjoy our community.
All right, Karin, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you very much, Phil.
New Richland Center Mayor Karin Tepley on WRCO's Morning Show. We have more coming up.